Three numbers on a page. That is all that separates someone from what the story claims is a buried fortune. Not a locked safe, not a guarded vault. 3 columns of numbers, 2 of which have never been read by anyone who left a record of doing so. In 1885, a pamphlet appeared. Its author was anonymous. The pamphlet contained 3 numerical cipher texts, each one a long sequence of numbers standing in place of letters, words, or both. The pamphlet told a story around those numbers, that a man named Thomas Jefferson Beale had buried a treasure somewhere in Virginia, and that the 3 ciphers described the location, the contents, and the names of those entitled to a share. That story is disputed. What is not disputed is that the pamphlet exists, that the 3 cipher texts exist, and that for well over a century people have been trying to read them. The second cipher is the one with a reported solution. The method attributed to it is a book cipher, in which each number corresponds to the first letter of a numbered word in a source document. The document proposed as the key is the United States Declaration of Independence. When that key is applied to the second cipher text, it produces readable English. The result, according to this widely reported solution, describes the contents of the alleged treasure: gold, silver, and jewels gathered across multiple expeditions. That solution is called widely reported and conventionally presented because the underlying story, the man, the expeditions, and the buried cache have not been independently verified. The cipher appears to work with that key. Whether it was designed to work with that key or whether the pamphlet was constructed around a cipher already solved in advance is a question the record does not close. The first cipher and the third cipher remain unsolved. The first is said to describe the precise location of the burial site. The third is said to list the rightful heirs. Neither has a key that produces consistent, readable output. Code breakers, hobbyists, professional cryptanalysts, and at least one team connected to institutional research have examined them across decades. None has produced a solution that holds under scrutiny or that the broader cryptographic community has accepted. Here is the detail that changes the shape of the problem. The second cipher, the one that appears solved, contains errors. When researchers apply the Declaration of Independence as a key, some numbers in the cipher text do not correspond to any word in the document, or correspond in ways that require adjustment. The solution works well enough to produce readable output, but not perfectly. That imperfection has 2 possible explanations, pulling in opposite directions. 1. The cipher is genuine, and the errors entered through copying mistakes during the pamphlet's production. 2. The cipher was constructed to resemble a solvable book cipher without being a rigorously clean one, either as a deliberate design choice or as evidence that the whole document is a fabrication built to sustain just enough plausibility to sell. Those 2 explanations structure every serious examination of the Beale ciphers. On one side sits the possibility that the cipher texts are authentic records of a real buried cache, that the errors in the second cipher are transcription accidents, and that the first and third ciphers await only the correct key documents to yield their contents. Supporters of this view point to the internal consistency of the second cipher's solution and to the specificity of the detail it produces when decoded. They argue that a hoaxer would have been unlikely to invest the effort required to construct 3 numerically complex texts that bear the statistical signatures of genuine encipherment. On the other side sits the hypothesis that the pamphlet is an elaborate 19th century hoax, possibly constructed to sell copies or to keep a real estate or treasure hunting scheme alive. Researchers have noted that the second cipher's reliance on the Declaration of Independence is almost too neat, a famous document available to any reader, requiring no secret knowledge. The anonymous authorship of the pamphlet removes accountability entirely. No independent corroboration of Beale as a historical figure, of the expeditions described, or of the treasure's physical existence has been documented in the surviving record. The NSA's own historical release on the Beale papers flags the existence of the treasure and the pamphlet narrative as disputed, a careful institutional acknowledgement that the cryptograms and the story around them are not the same thing. Statistical analysis of the first and third ciphers has produced findings that sit uncomfortably between both explanations. The number distributions in those two texts are consistent with encipherment, meaning they do not immediately resemble random noise or simple substitution. That is a point in favor of authenticity, but consistent with encipherment is not the same as proven to be genuine encipherment. A skilled forger who understood basic cryptographic principles could produce texts with the right statistical fingerprint while still choosing a key that was never meant to be found, or no key at all. The search for alternative key documents has continued across generations. Researchers have tested other historical texts from the relevant period: books, legal documents, newspapers. None has unlocked the first or third cipher in a way that produces coherent output and commands consensus. The absence of a working key is not proof that no key exists. It is equally consistent with a key that has been lost, a key that was never distributed, or a cipher that has no key because it was never meant to be solved. What the Beale Ciphers reveal, beyond the specific mystery of their content, is how an unverified document can accumulate authority simply through age and repetition. The pamphlet has been cited, analyzed, and debated for more than a century. That longevity gives it a weight it did not carry at publication, when it was simply an anonymous claim with no supporting evidence. The longer a cipher remains unsolved, the more it resembles a genuine puzzle rather than an abandoned fiction. Unsolvability and authenticity are not the same quality, but they produce similar effects on how people interpret a document over time. The ciphers also expose a hard limit in cryptanalysis. A cipher can only be broken if it was constructed with a real key. If no key was ever created, no amount of analytical effort will produce a solution, because there is nothing to find. Every hour spent on the first and third ciphers is either an hour moving toward a genuine buried answer, or an hour applied to a puzzle with no solution by design. The record does not tell you which one you are doing. 3 columns of numbers published by an anonymous author in 1885. One appears to yield readable output when matched against a famous document. 2 do not yield anything. The story wrapped around them cannot be independently verified. The errors in the solvable cipher point toward either careless transcription or deliberate construction, and those 2 possibilities lead to entirely different conclusions about what the other 2 ciphers contain. The precise question the record leaves open is not whether the treasure exists. It is whether the first cipher has a key that was real, lost, and waiting, or whether it was designed from the start to look like a question that could be answered, while never being one. The unsolved vault. Every case leaves something behind.